Welcome to Fable Sonder, where every story inspires and connects. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to support us. Now let's dive into today's tale. Sit back and enjoy.
Fable Sonder, the stories of hidden life.
The title of the story is Ashes to Promise, Secrets Beneath Sugarloaf Mountain. Anna Parker sat in a polished mahogany chair in a pristine downtown Portland law office, nervously twisting the worn strap of her second-hand purse. The atmosphere of wealth and importance made her feel distinctly out of place. Across from her, the lawyer, Mr. Harrison, was explaining something that sounded too surreal to believe. "Your grandfather, Mr. Warren Sheffield, has left you his entire estate," he repeated, shuffling through a stack of papers. "The property is located near Sugarloaf Mountain." Anna's brow furrowed, and she whispered more to herself than to the lawyer, "But I barely knew him." Her mind wandered to faint memories of her grandfather, a quiet man with paint-stained hands who always seemed lost in his own world. Mr. Harrison adjusted his glasses. "Were you aware that your grandfather was an artist?" "Yes, I knew he painted," Anna stammered. "But we weren't close. After my parents divorced," her voice trailed off as she recalled how her family had fractured, leaving Warren Sheffield, her father's father, an almost stranger in her life. "He managed to make a modest living selling his work," Mr. Harrison continued. "He wasn't famous, but he was respected among collectors in Maine." Anna felt tears well up in her eyes. "I should have visited him. I always meant to," she said, brushing away a tear. "I didn't even know his address." The lawyer softened his tone. "Miss Parker, you were his only remaining heir. Whatever your relationship was, he chose to leave everything to you." "Everything?" Anna's voice cracked. "What exactly does that mean?" Mr. Harrison pulled out a photograph from the file and slid it across the desk. "There's a house. It's quite remote, near Sugarloaf Mountain. The property has been in your family for generations." Anna picked up the photo, her fingers trembling. It showed an old, weather-beaten farmhouse with peeling shutters and a sagging wraparound porch. She stared at it, overwhelmed. Why me? Why not someone else in the family? "There is no one else," Mr. Harrison said. "You're it. The house is yours along with everything in it. Your grandfather was quite explicit about this in his will." As Anna left the office, clutching the folder of inheritance papers, a whirlwind of emotions consumed her. She thought about her grandfather, the missed opportunities, and the mysteries of a man she barely knew. Walking down the crisp spring streets of Portland, she couldn't have guessed that the old house near Sugarloaf Mountain held secrets that would change her life forever. She whispered to the wind, "Thank you, Grandpa Warren. I just wish I'd known you better." 6 months before her inheritance turned her world upside down, Anna's life seemed to be improving. She worked at Coastal Elegance, a high-end boutique in Portland's trendiest shopping district. She loved arranging the window displays with designer pieces that cost more than her rent. One sunny morning, her manager called out, "Anna, could you help this gentleman? He's looking for something special." That was the day she met Dean Morgan, a tall, impeccably dressed man with a tailored suit and a smile that could melt ice. As Anna helped him select a gift for his sister, she noticed how his gaze lingered on her. "You have excellent taste," he said, leaning against the counter as she wrapped his purchase. "Would you consider sharing more of it over dinner?" That dinner led to another and then another. Soon Anna found herself swept into a romance that felt like a fairy tale. Dean took her to the finest restaurants, showered her with gifts, and made her feel like a princess. "You shouldn't be working here," he said one evening as they lounged in his luxury apartment overlooking the harbor. "A woman like you deserves better than folding clothes all day." "But I like my job," Anna protested weakly. Dean's laugh was indulgent. "Baby, when you're with me, you won't need to work. Just quit. Move in with me. Sell that tiny condo of yours. You won't need it anymore." Blinded by love, Anna did as he suggested. She quit her job and sold her condo, believing in the dream Dean had painted for her. But cracks in their relationship appeared gradually. Dean's charming possessiveness became controlling. His suggestions turned into demands. Still, Anna ignored the red flags, too invested to see the truth. Then one morning, everything changed. Anna discovered she was pregnant. Her hands shook as she stared at the positive test. A mix of fear and joy filled her heart as she imagined how Dean might react. When she told him, his face contorted with disgust. "You've got to be kidding me," he said. "This isn't happening." "But Dean, I thought—" "You thought wrong," he snapped. "Get rid of it. I'm not ready for kids, and I'm sure as hell not having them with some shop girl." Anna felt like she'd been slapped. "I quit my job for you. I sold my home." "That was your choice," he said coldly. "And now you have another choice. Handle this problem or handle yourself out of my apartment." 2 days later, Anna found herself in a dingy shared house on the outskirts of Portland. Her few belongings were stacked in boxes and her heart was shattered. She took a job with a cleaning service, which didn't ask questions about her situation. That was a blessing, as she couldn't bear to explain how completely her life had fallen apart. Months later, desperation drove Anna to the mountain house. Her pregnancy was now impossible to hide, and she had lost her cleaning job after Dean's vindictive interference. With nowhere else to go, she packed her meager belongings and took a taxi to the remote property. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror as the gravel road deteriorated into a rutted trail. "You sure this is where you want to go, miss?" "Yes," Anna said, clutching the address. The taxi came to a jarring halt. "End of the line. I'm not risking my car any further." Standing alone on the dirt road with her small bag, Anna watched the taxi's taillights disappear. The crisp mountain air bit through her thin jacket. She hadn't dressed for the cold. "You lost, dear." The voice startled her. An elderly woman in a thick cardigan stood on a nearby porch. "I'm looking for the Sheffield house," Anna replied. "I'm Warren's granddaughter." The woman's face lit up. "Oh, old Warren's girl. It's just up ahead. That big white place with the porch all around, though I use the term white loosely these days." When Anna reached the house, her heart sank. The once grand farmhouse was a shadow of its former self. Paint peeled in long strips, shutters hung crooked, and the porch sagged dangerously. Inside, the damage was even worse. Vandals had torn up floorboards, graffiti marred the walls, and broken furniture lay scattered everywhere. In what remained of the kitchen, Anna turned to the elderly woman. "What happened here?" "It's been rough since Warren passed," the neighbor said. "Empty houses attract trouble." Anna's gaze drifted to the attic windows. Her neighbor explained that Warren had spent most of his time painting up there. "Shame what they did to it," she added. Standing in the dust-filled living room, Anna sensed the faint bones of something beautiful beneath the ruin. Maybe, like her own life, this house just needed someone to believe in its potential. As the sun set behind Sugarloaf Mountain, Anna had no idea the secrets hidden within the house, or how her life was about to change forever. Over the next few weeks, the old Sheffield house slowly came back to life. Jacob proved to be as skilled as he had claimed, replacing broken floorboards, fixing cabinets, and sealing leaky windows. Anna followed closely behind him with paint and polish, transforming chaos into something resembling a home. "You're good at this," Anna remarked one afternoon, watching Jacob repair a broken porch railing. "Where'd you learn?" "Here and there," he replied, carefully avoiding her eyes. "My life's been complicated." They had fallen into an easy routine. Jacob arrived early each morning, tools in hand, and worked until sunset. Sometimes they shared lunch on the porch, trading stories about their lives, but both were careful to leave certain chapters untold. One peaceful afternoon, the crash of a car door outside shattered their calm. "Well, well," a harsh voice called out. "Look what we found." Two men in expensive suits that barely concealed their thuggish demeanor strode up the front walk. Anna saw Jacob's face go pale. "Fletcher," the taller man sneered, "getting awful cozy here instead of doing your job." "What's going on?" Anna asked, her hand instinctively moving to protect her growing belly. "Nothing," Jacob muttered, stepping between her and the men. "They were just leaving." "Like hell we are," the shorter man said, cracking his knuckles. "You had one job, Fletcher. Find the icon. Instead, you're playing house with the old man's granddaughter." Anna's eyes widened. "Icon? What icon?" "Don't play dumb, sweetheart," the tall one growled. "Your grandfather stole our property. We hired this loser to find it, but clearly he's forgotten our arrangement." "I haven't forgotten anything," Jacob said, his voice like steel. "There's nothing here. I've looked everywhere while doing repairs. The first punch caught Jacob by surprise, sending him stumbling backward. Anna screamed and grabbed a garden rake from against the wall. "Get off my property," she shouted. "I'm calling the police." The men hesitated, clearly not expecting such resistance. The taller one pointed at Jacob, who was wiping blood from his lip. "This isn't over, Fletcher. You still owe us. And you," he turned to Anna, "better hope you find that icon before we lose our patience." After they roared away in their black sedan, Anna rounded on Jacob. "Tell me the truth, all of it." Looking into her eyes, Jacob knew he couldn't lie anymore. Not to her, not now. "Your grandfather was restoring an icon for them, a valuable religious painting they'd stolen. But he discovered its true origin and refused to return it. They think he hid it here somewhere before he died." Anna sank onto the porch steps, her mind reeling. "So you were just here to search for it? All this time?" Jacob sat beside her, not quite touching. "At first, yes. I owed them money, made some stupid mistakes. They offered to clear my debt if I found the icon." He turned to face her fully. "But Anna, these past weeks, they've meant more to me than any debt. You've meant more to me." As the sun set behind Sugarloaf Mountain, Anna looked at the man beside her and realized she had a choice to make. The familiar roar of a luxury car engine made Anna freeze at her kitchen window. She would know that silver BMW anywhere. Dean had found her. "What's he doing here?" Jacob asked, his voice tense. After the confrontation with the art thieves the previous week, they had both been on edge. Dean emerged from his car, looking exactly as Anna remembered. Expensive suit, perfectly styled hair, and that smile that once made her weak in the knees but now turned her stomach. "Anna, darling," he called out as if the past months had never happened. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" "Stay here," Jacob muttered, stepping onto the porch. "Mr. Morgan, I presume?" Dean's smile didn't waver. "And you are? Someone who knows what kind of man you are." Jacob's voice was icy. "Leave, Dean," Anna said, stepping onto the porch, one hand protectively over her now visible pregnancy. "We need to talk," Dean replied, ignoring Jacob. "I may have been hasty before, about everything." "There's nothing to talk about," Anna said firmly. "Don't be difficult, sweetheart," Dean said, reaching into his jacket. "Some friends of mine are very interested in certain items that might be in this house." "The icon hunter sent you?" Jacob growled. "You're working for them now?" Dean's pleasant mask slipped. "You have no idea who you're dealing with, handyman. This could all end very badly." "Get off my property," Anna's voice shook with anger. "You lost any right to be in my life the moment you threw me out of yours." Dean laughed coldly. "Look at you, knocked up in some mountain shack with the hired help. You really think this is a life?" Jacob's fist connected with Dean's jaw before anyone saw him move. Dean stumbled backward, his carefully crafted image crumbling. "You're both going to regret this," Dean snarled, wiping blood from his lip. "Last chance, Anna. Help me find what I'm looking for. Or else." "Or else what?" she challenged. Dean's answer came that night. The smell of smoke woke Anna from a fitful sleep. Orange flames were already climbing the outside walls, spreading faster than seemed possible. "Jacob!" she screamed. He burst into her room seconds later. "Fire escape route, now!" They had planned for this after the threats began. Jacob helped Anna through her window onto the porch roof as flames consumed the stairs below. The heat was intense, the smoke thick and choking. "Jump!" Jacob called from below, having climbed down first. "I'll catch you!" Anna hesitated for a split second, then pushed off as a section of the roof collapsed behind her. Jacob's strong arms caught her safely, and they stumbled away from the inferno that was once her home. From the shadows of the trees, Dean watched the house burn with cold satisfaction. He had made his report by phone before setting the fire. The icon must have been destroyed. Nothing would survive this. But as he drove away, Dean didn't see Anna and Jacob huddled safely in the elderly neighbor's house, watching their world burn while holding each other tight. He didn't see the tears in Anna's eyes, not for the loss of the house, but for the final death of her old life and the man she once thought she loved. "We'll rebuild," Jacob whispered, his arms strong around her. "Whatever it takes." Anna nodded, knowing that from these ashes, something new would rise, something stronger than before. The morning after the fire, Anna and Jacob stood amid the smoking ruins of the Sheffield house. The acrid smell of burnt wood hung heavy in the air as they salvaged what little remained. "At least we're alive," Anna said softly, her hand resting on her growing belly. "That's what matters." The sound of tires on gravel made them both tense. After last night, any unexpected visitor seemed a threat. A sleek black Mercedes pulled up, but instead of more thugs, an elegant older couple emerged. The woman gasped when she saw Jacob, her manicured hand flying to her mouth. "Thomas, look at him. It's really him." Jacob stepped protectively in front of Anna. "Can I help you?" The man, Thomas, seemed equally shaken. "My God, Irene's right. You're the spitting image." "I'm sorry," Jacob's voice was wary. "Do I know you?" "No," Irene's eyes filled with tears. "But we've been looking for you for 27 years. I'm your mother, Jacob. Your real mother." Anna felt Jacob stiffen beside her. "That's impossible." "Massachusetts General Hospital, May 12th, Thomas said quietly. "There was a mix-up in the nursery. We didn't know at first, but as Max, the boy we took home, grew up, things didn't add up. A DNA test confirmed he wasn't ours." "We've been searching ever since," Irene continued, taking a tentative step forward. "When we saw your photo in the local paper last month—" "What photo?" Jacob demanded. "The fundraiser for the mountain rescue team. You were in the background of a group shot. Thomas recognized you immediately. You look exactly like he did at your age?" Jacob shook his head. "The people who raised me? The Hendersons," Thomas supplied. "They were given our biological son, Max. We've already spoken with them. Done all the tests. There's no doubt." Anna watched emotions war on Jacob's face. Disbelief, anger, hope. She squeezed his hand gently. "Why now?" Jacob's voice cracked. "Why after all these years?" "We never stopped looking," Irene said, crying openly now. "We have a house in Boston, a family business. Everything was always meant to be yours too. Please just give us a chance to know you." Thomas stepped forward, his eyes on the burned house. "Let us help you rebuild, both of you. We've missed so much already." Jacob turned to Anna, his eyes questioning. She smiled encouragingly, understanding his unspoken worry. "We want to do this our way," Jacob finally said. "I can't just leave here. Leave Anna. This is my home now." "Of course," Irene nodded quickly. "We'll do whatever you want. We just want to be part of your life." As they talked, Anna watched a new future taking shape from the ashes of the old. Jacob's hand remained firmly in hers, even as he began to forge connections with his newfound family. "Your timing is perfect," Anna said softly to Irene. "This little one's going to need all the grandparents it can get." In that moment, standing amid the ruins of one life as another began, they were all exactly where they needed to be. Construction crews swarmed the Sheffield property like busy ants, transforming the burned ruins into something new. Thomas and Irene had insisted on hiring the best contractors in Maine, though Jacob still supervised every detail of the rebuild. "The foundation's solid," the foreman called out one morning. "Your grandfather knew how to build, miss. We can work with this." Anna watched from a lawn chair, her pregnancy now in its final months. Jacob had barely left her side since his biological parents' appearance, determined to build their future together. "Hey, careful there!" a worker suddenly shouted. "There's some kind of old well under these boards." Jacob rushed over to investigate. "The cover's rotting. We should seal it properly before someone falls in." As the workers cleared the debris, something caught his eye. "There's a rope down there, and something's attached to it." The crew gathered around as Jacob carefully pulled up an old bucket, sealed tight with tar and wax. "This was hidden deliberately," he said, examining the crude waterproofing. Anna's heart raced. "Open it." Inside, wrapped in oilcloth and perfectly preserved, was an ornate religious icon. The gold leaf details still gleamed, the sacred image untouched by time or damp. "Grandpa Warren," Anna whispered. "He protected it all along." "This is it, isn't it?" Jacob asked quietly. "What they were looking for." Anna nodded, tears in her eyes. "He could have sold it, made himself rich. Instead, he hid it to return it someday." "Then let's finish what he started," Jacob said. The next day, they drove to Portland's oldest Orthodox church. The priest's eyes widened at the sight of the icon. his hands trembling as he held it. "We thought it was lost forever," he whispered. "This was stolen 5 years ago. Such a precious piece of our heritage." "My grandfather wanted it returned," Anna said simply. "He didn't want to profit from something that belonged to the faithful." Back at the property, the new house rose quickly. Jacob's newfound family had connections, and soon the raw lumber took shape into a home even more beautiful than the original. "Max wants to meet you," Irene told Jacob one afternoon. "When you're ready. He grew up as our son, but he'd like to know his brother." Anna squeezed Jacob's hand, feeling him relax at her touch. The past months had taught them both that family could be found in unexpected places. Autumn painted the mountains in brilliant colors the day Anna went into labor. Their bedroom in the newly finished house became a sanctuary as she delivered not one baby, but two, a boy and a girl, both with their father's dark hair and their mother's determined spirit. Standing at the window later, the twins sleeping nearby, Anna and Jacob watched the sunset paint Sugarloaf Mountain in shades of gold. "Think we made your grandfather proud?" Jacob asked softly. Anna smiled, remembering the hidden icon, the house risen from ashes, and the family they'd built from broken pieces of the past. "I know we did," she whispered. He gave them everything they needed to find their way home. The moral of the story is, even from the ashes of loss and betrayal, we can rebuild a life of love, purpose, and redemption. True wealth lies in family integrity and the courage to start anew. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to show your support.